Salve a tutti ragazzi e bentornati a un nuovo video gameplay di Mr. WhiteHead. Utilizziamo oggi un gioco che l'Epic Store ci ha dato gratuitamente. Si chiama The Stanley Parable. Ho visto il trailer e sembrava un gioco abbastanza intrippante. Pare che sia un gioco di esplorazione e andremo avanti nei livelli solamente se metteremo la telecamera in una giusta prospettiva. Almeno credo di aver capito così. Comunque mi ha attirato molto il trailer, sembrava veramente un qualcosa di psichedelico.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok, quindi siamo nei panni di Stanley adesso. E vediamo un po' cosa possiamo fare. Ok, perfetto, ci muoviamo. Siamo liberi di muoverci, quindi troppo veloce.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
Quindi siamo alla ricerca dei nostri colleghi. Non c'è nessuno qui. Siamo rimasti da soli. Minchia che paranoia. Ogni postazione un numero. Non possiamo fare nient'altro. Possiamo solo camminare e niente più.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
E se io vado a quella a destra? Dai, cominciamo a sfidare il gioco. Andiamo a destra, ma molto probabilmente l'avranno già pensata questa cosa qua. Diciamo che lui è andato a sinistra e tutti vanno a destra. Facciamo... sarà psicologia inversa. Allora dai, andiamo a sinistra, su. Seguiamo le regole del gioco. Ok, c'è una porta.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Le porte ci si chiudono dietro, come passiamo.
Coming to a staircase,
Stanley dobbiamo andare all'ufficio del cavo, ma se andiamo giù,
office.
Che succede? Che troviamo qua? Qua ci si chiude dietro la porta?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the
farlo.
possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. and at last he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing
Ok, questo non
itself being
finisce più di
considered by
chiacchierare.
Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Adesso io
I'm
non
dreaming
so
about a voice
come fare per
describing
uscire
me,
da questa
thinking about how it's
situazione.
describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Minchia.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Passare una
Mariella
cosa
woke up
all'altra
on a day
così.
like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Allora, il narratore mi sta mettendo un'ansia bestiale. Non finisce mai di parlare. E tra l'altro a causa sua non potrei neanche parlare, non voglio parlargli sopra. Che altrimenti poi non capireste più un cazzo, né
A
lui né
soft
me.
wind blew outside and
Ecco che
perhaps rain
ricomincia.
started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Ok, andiamo direttamente
Stanley
alle due
came to a set of
porte.
two open
Riandiamo a
doors, he entered the
sinistra.
door on
Ok,
his
adesso
left.
questa volta seguiamo le indicazioni del narratore. Quindi alle scale
Yet there
andremo
was not a
sopra.
single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping him coming to a
andiamo
staircase,
su.
Stanley walked upstairs to
Poi
his
sarebbe bello se
boss's
torniamo
office.
giù un'altra volta e ricominciamo di nuovo tutto da capo.
Stepping into his
Nell'ufficio del
manager's
capo non
office,
c'è nessuno.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
Ci aveva dato un codice
2845.
2845.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Però lo sappiamo. 2845. Ok. Qua mi esce qualcosa.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to
Sì.
input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination
Allora, ho
was
provato a premere
2845.
2845. Ma non so se me l'ha calcolato, riproviamo. 2845. Prima mi invio.
2845.
Sì. Ma devo andare da qualche parte? Che mi indica qui. Però non posso fare niente. Quindi andiamo ancora 2845 e invio. Ok, questa volta non ha fatto nulla, quindi non era...
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And
Ok, non ho
Stanley got
capito
the
se
hell
sta
along with
fatta da
the
solo
story.
oppure sono io.
Well,
Non ho
whoop-de-doo.
proprio capito. Ok, qua è un ascensore che ci porterà verso il basso.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ok, dove siamo finiti?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
Mind
that read
Control Facility.
Mind Control Facility.
Inquietante, ricorda un pochettino Control. Leggermente. Forse è l'ambientazione. Ok, con questa ci
The
diamo la
lights
luce.
rose on an enormous room packed
Pare
with
di sì.
television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Allora, con questo tasto attiviamo le
Now the
telecamere.
monitors jumped to life.
Addirittura,
Their true nature
quindi abbiamo
revealed.
tutti
Each
gli
bore the
schermi dei
number of an
dipendenti.
employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers.
Che
The
miseria.
lives of so many
Dai,
individuals
tipo
reduced to
l'ufficio
images on a screen.
dell'architetto in
And
Matrix.
Stanley, one of them, eternally
Praticamente.
monitored
C'è
in
qualcuno
this
qua che
place
controlla
where
le vite di
freedom
tutti
meant
quanti gli
nothing.
impiegati. Simbolo di un omino.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Io
Had
che numero
Stanley
ero?
really
Non mi
been under
ricordo.
someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Di qua? Non vedo niente.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another
quindi
human
dobbiamo
life.
bloccare
For he
questa
would
macchina.
dismantle the
Quindi andiamo
controls once and for all.
Porca troia, veramente intrippante la cosa. Quindi lo dobbiamo spegnere. Quindi proviamo con off.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Sarebbero dovute
And
andare.
Stanley was happy.
Ma ci sarà sicuramente un ma. Ma è finito. Ma che dici? Ah, beh. Sembrava strano fosse finito così. E quindi ricominciamo da capo. Ah, se ha visto l'ufficio così illuminato, non c'era nessuno. E quindi deve cercare i suoi colleghi. Ma porca miseria, dove sono questi cacchio di colleghi? Ma sono tutti quanti a una riunione, io non lo sapevo. Porca puttana, non mi ha detto niente nessuno. Ma adesso devo andare dal capo, assolutamente. Mi trovo da due porte, quale vado? A sinistra o a destra? Ma non lo so. Se vado a sinistra rifaccio quello di prima. Se vado a destra è una cosa nuova. Proviamo quella di destra. E andiamo.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh,
Yes,
che
truly a
bello.
room
Poi ci
worth
prendiamo una
admiring.
bella
It had
bibita
really been worth the
gassata.
detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, but eager to get back to business. Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Sì? È la mia prima porta a sinistra? E se io vado dritto? Rimango imbloccato. E io ignoro il narratore,
Stanley was
vado
so
avanti
bad
per
at
questa
following
via.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley,
si
I think
muoverà.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, Stop trying to make every
Invece
decision
continuerò a
by
fare
yourself.
così.
Now, I'm not asking for
Farò
me.
tutto l'opposto di quello che mi dici.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your
Continuiamo ad andare
life.
avanti. Qua c'è
She's
l'oscurità
been
più
waiting.
totale. Porca puttana, mi sono
That's
cagato
her,
addosso.
Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the
Devo
phone.
rispondere? Rispondiamo, va.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Ma che cazzo?
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Va bene, dai, accontentiamolo. Entriamo
This is a
dentro,
very
vediamo un po'
sad
cosa
story
vuole da
about
noi.
the death of a man named Stanley.
Buongiorno impiegato 427, premi K solo tastiera. Va
Stanley is quite a
bene.
boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ah sì? E allora io ti premo F di fanculo. No? Non va? Niente? Devo premere per forza N? Sto provando a premere un
Look at
po'
him
tutti i
there,
tasti, ma
pushing
niente.
buttons,
Per
doing
forza N.
exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his
Premiamo.
mind,
Non possiamo fare
in his
altrimenti.
mind, he can go on
Il resto
fantastic
dei tasti
adventures.
non
From
funzionano,
behind
non
his
rispondono ai
desk,
comandi,
Stanley
quindi
dreamed
possiamo
of wild
soltanto fare quello che ci
expeditions into
dice.
the unknown.
Nonostante comunque lui ci stia
Fantastic
dicendo
discoveries of
male,
new
perché
lands.
facciamo
It
sempre
was
quello
wonderful.
che ci
And
dicono
each
di
day
fare.
that he
Vabbè.
returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Vediamo sta TV, tanto
And so he
cambia,
began
ecco
to
appunto.
fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Vediamo P.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either.
Ma
At
dov'è tutta
last,
sta roba che mi stai
choice.
descrivendo?
It
Non ho
barely
ancora...
even mattered what
non
lay
l'ho
behind
capita.
each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Prepariamo la cena,
As he
tanto
wandered
ecco,
through this fantasy world,
praticamente ci
he
sta
began to fill it with
trasformando
many
la
possible
casa a quello che
paths and
potrebbe essere casa
destinations.
nostra
Down
nell'ufficio. E
one
stiamo
path
piano
lay
piano
an
tornando
enormous
all'ufficio,
round room
semplicemente.
with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
E
It
premiamo
was
U.
such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Dai, sì, va bene. Diciamo che
But there is no
l'amiamo.
answer.
Amiamo la
How
nostra
could there possibly
scrivania.
be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm
Dici che
trying to
andiamo a
tell him
dormire?
this, that in this world he can never
O ci
be
metteremo
anything but an
semplicemente di fronte
observer,
al nostro
that as long
schermo?
as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Quello che vorrei fare. Infatti, magari mi ci sto un po'. Aspettiamo un po' che succede. Se vedo che comunque, nonostante tutto, rimane quella scritta, prima o poi dovrò premere questo 0.
You see?
Ecco appunto.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way
E
that he'll
siamo tornati in
understand that every
ufficio.
second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself?
Tra un po' ci si
How
aprirà
can I
la
get him to
porta
see
e
what I
dovremo
see? How can
ricominciare
I
e
make
dovremo
him look at
decidere dove
himself?
cazzo andare. Non
I
voglio
suppose
fare
I
domande.
can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Come muori?
And Stanley pushed a button.
No.
And I tried again. And Stanley
Sei
pushed a button.
intrippato.
And I tried.
Comunque, l'hanno impostato... È molto inquietante per come l'hanno impostato. Effettivamente siamo all'interno di un incubo e non riusciamo a svegliarci. Ci ritroviamo puntualmente in questo cazzo di ufficio. Nonostante tutto, nonostante proviamo ad ascoltare la voce, non ascoltiamo la voce. Comunque ci ritroviamo qua. Va bene ragazzi, dai, penso che per questo video sia tutto e noi continueremo con i prossimi video gameplay ad uscire fuori da questo cacchio di ufficio. Chissà, se ce la faremo prima o poi dobbiamo provare altre varianti, ci sono molte varianti, ci sono altre porte da esplorare, altre zone da esplorare, altre porte da aprire e vedremo cosa si nasconderà dietro queste porte. Ragazzi, dal vostro Mr. WhiteHead è tutto, mi raccomando, se vi è piaciuto il video mettete un bel like, fate l'iscrizione se non l'avete ancora fatto e se volete condividete il video con chi volete voi. Ci vediamo al prossimo video ragazzi, ciao!